Hello, everyone. As you're slowly trickling in, welcome to the University of the Sciences Student Panel Q&A. So I'm going to give just a minute or two for our students to trickle in, but just some quick Zoom housekeeping. If maybe you guys aren't as familiar with Zoom, if you go up to the top right-hand side of your screen, you can choose speaker mode. Definitely recommend choosing speaker mode so you only see who is specifically speaking at each individual time. We got a pretty big panel here, so you definitely want to make sure you know who's speaking at each time. And then also, if you have any questions throughout the presentation and then also after the presentation, feel free to go to the bottom of your screen where there is a Q&A feature. So you're more than welcome to throw a question into the Q&A, and we will get to those as soon as our presentation has completed. But again, welcome to the University of the Sciences Student Panel. We're going to go over some frequently asked questions for our students on the panel today, as well as some general information about USciences, next steps, and the COVID impact on campus here. And then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. I think we should be good to get started. So again, welcome to University of the Sciences. My name is Morgan. I am one of the undergraduate admissions counselors here. So just to give you a quick rundown of the agenda, again, we're going to talk about the COVID impact and specifically the fall 2021 plans. Then we're going to go into detail about next steps as an accepted student. As all of you are accepted students, we're going to talk about what you can do next should you decide to enroll at USciences, and then get into the student panel. So just to do a quick rundown of the COVID impact at USciences. So for the fall 2021, and then also for fall 2020, and then also for spring of 2021, moving forward into all this craziness of coming onto campus after a summer of quarantine, the primary focus of those programs was to focus in on the health and safety of our faculty, staff, and students, of course, but then also maintaining the excellence in education that we offer. So currently we are in a hybrid course. So what that means is that some of our courses are in person and on campus, and some of our courses are online. So through this hybrid course, some of our students are living on campus and we are able to have that on-campus experience while also maintaining the health and safety of our faculty, staff, and students. And we've maintained that specifically through fall 2020 and then also the current spring 2021 semester. So looking forward into fall of 2021, which is where you guys will fall in. So we plan to return to a majority of in-person coursework and welcome students back to campus. Obviously, this is with following specific health guidelines for the city of Philadelphia. However, moving forward, our priority is to try and have the majority of our classes return to in-person coursework as we come back to campus for the fall of 2021. And then if you do want to read a little bit more about our campus guidelines regarding the COVID-19 impact, you can go to usciences.edu/campus guidelines. So some information about next steps should you decide to enroll at USciences, but then also if you're maybe still deciding, there's some helpful tips in here as well. So submit your FAFSA application if you haven't done so already. So if you haven't submitted a FAFSA application, definitely go ahead and do that as soon as you can. Once you submit the FAFSA, that will then trigger the financial aid award letter to then get created by the financial aid office and then have that sent out to you. If you've already completed the FAFSA though, and you've already received your financial aid award letter, you're already ahead of the game, so that's perfect. And then also join the Accepted Student Facebook group. So the Accepted Student Facebook group is a really great place to start meeting fellow classmates and potential future roommates or future friends in the fall 2021 class at USciences. And you can do that by going to usciences.edu/accepted2021. I do recommend when you get into the Facebook group, there's going to be two questions that are going to pop up. One of them is going to be asking your name and then also the major that you were accepted to. So we use this to just verify that you are in fact one of our students. So if you have a nickname or a preferred name that you specifically put on your Facebook profile, but maybe you have a different name that's on your application, definitely make sure you let me know what your application name was used for so I can look you up in our system. And then also attend accepted student events. You're already attending one currently, so you're already kind of involved. But if you want to attend any more events, you can go to usciences.edu/ASE 2021. And then also if you want to submit your enrollment and housing deposit. So if you do decide to commit to USciences and submit your deposit, you can do that by going to usciences.edu/enroll. And all you're going to really need for this is your acceptance confirmation code. So if you still have hold of your acceptance letter that you received, you're going to have the 6-digit code right on your letter. It's pretty much in bold and right there. So you put that in on the fill-in box that you'll see at that URL, and then you follow the steps that follow after that. If you have any questions or if you lost your code or you need any help, feel free to reach out to your admissions counselor, and we're more than happy to help you with that. And then also save the date for the in-person and on-campus orientation welcome days. So these are the dates that we have set up for phase 1 of the orientation. The dates are first come, first serve. They do fill up, but you shouldn't have to worry too much. They're not filled up just yet, but now that tomorrow is April somehow, when you get into April, that's when we tend to see most of the deposits coming in. So that will be your definite next step. As soon as you submit that deposit, definitely make sure you return to the USciences website to register for your orientation and just get your seat reserved and ready for that. And then finally, you're going to want to celebrate. So I feel like, especially in this past year with how crazy everything has been, that your class hasn't really had a chance to celebrate the fact that you're going to graduate from high school, which is crazy. And then also that you've been accepted to college and now you're choosing which university you're going to attend. That is a monumental accomplishment. So definitely make sure that you're taking some time tonight to just really celebrate that accomplishment and really appreciate it, because I definitely feel like you guys haven't had a chance to do that this year. So now I'm actually going to pass it off to my colleague Sarah, and she's going to introduce you to our USciences student ambassadors.
Thanks, Morgan. Hi, everybody. My name's Sarah. I'm another one of the undergraduate admission counselors here at USciences. And I'm not going to be talking for too long. I'm going to go ahead and pass things on to our lovely student ambassadors who we have with us today, and they're going to go ahead and introduce themselves. So first off, we have Sydney H. So Sydney, if you wanted to go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sydney. I'm sorry I don't have my camera on right now. I am currently at work. Yeah, I'm a first year student at USciences. I switched over to health sciences actually as my major. And I was on campus in the fall, and right now I'm currently at home because, you know, of the COVID. I didn't have any classes in person, so I chose to go home the second semester, but I am looking forward to getting back on campus in the fall. There's a great social life. It's a beautiful campus, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm glad to get to know everyone and answer your questions who joined tonight.
Great. Thanks, Sydney. Now we have Sydney A.
Hi guys, I'm Sydney Adamczyk. I am from Lewis, Delaware, which is about 2 hours south of campus near the beach. I'm a U1 pharmaceutical chemistry major. I am a member of the American Chemical Society, the Honor Student Association, and I am part of the Delta Phi Epsilon sorority. I am an admissions ambassador on campus, but at home I work as an associate at Hollister, and I plan on being either a pharmaceutical, medicinal, or cosmetic chemist with a PhD, and I'm really looking forward to answering everyone's questions today.
Thanks, Sydney. Now we have Kayla.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kayla Dickert. I am from Whitehaven, Pennsylvania, which nobody probably has heard of. So that's in like the Pocono area. I am a U1 physics major. I am a part of the Delta Phi Epsilon sorority, the Society of Physics Students, and a new org on campus called Crafts for Community. My favorite place on campus is Starbucks, definitely an essential while studying and doing work. On campus, I work as an admissions ambassador and a service attendant, and at home, I am a shift manager at Arby's. My goal is to get my PhD in physics and work in academia. And one fun fact about myself is that I can say my ABCs backwards, and I'm super excited to answer all your questions about USci.
Great. Then last but not least, we have Riley.
Hi, everyone. I'm Riley. I'm from Bucks County, PA. I am a U1 biochemistry major. I'm part of the American Chemical Society, and I'm also part of Crafts for Community. My favorite place on campus is Linda's. She has the best chicken over rice that you will ever have. I do work as an admissions ambassador on campus, and my long-term goals are to be a pharmaceutical composition research and developer in the GlaxoSmithKline Smart Lab. And my fun fact is that I am a SEPTA commuter. So if there are any commuters out there who are looking into taking the Southeastern Pennsylvania Transportation Association way to campus, then I'm more than willing to help you out with that.
All right, thank you guys. So we're going to go through some frequently asked questions that we have prepared for our student panelists. And then after we go through all of these, we'll have time to answer any questions that you put in the Q&A as well. So again, I encourage you to put your questions in the Q&A if you think of anything. But we can go ahead and jump to the first question that we have prepared. So my first question for you all is, how was your transition from high school to college?
I could answer that. So I feel like, especially starting college, finishing high school off online, it was pretty slow. I felt like, teachers didn't really know how to fully give assignments. There wasn't as much work. And then you get into college and you just have all assignment after assignment. And it was a rough transition. Definitely your first semester is going to be a little more difficult, but once you get the hang of things, like I know definitely now my second semester as a freshman, I feel so much more confident in myself and my academics after getting that first semester under my belt, especially online with the changes of course load and atmosphere. So yeah, it's definitely a hard transition, but it's very doable. Like once you get that first semester under your belt, it's good.
It's kind of interesting because it was almost the reverse for me. So my high school was very rigorous in the course load. So I feel like from transitioning to my high school curriculum to college curriculum, the workloads were about the same. So I was able to manage very similarly. So that part of the transition was relatively easy. And there were definitely more students on campus that there were more students on campus last semester than there were this semester. And so I feel like I could balance more of a social life and schoolwork last semester. And then this semester was a little bit more challenging for me because my roommate only came this weekend because of our cohort lab experience. So she's only on campus for these 4 weeks. So the first 8 weeks of this semester, I was completely by myself in my room, which was fine. I got used to it, but it's definitely harder to keep motivated when you're the only person here. And it was, since there were less people on campus, there weren't as many people who wanted to go out, and I didn't want to go out by myself because I didn't want to feel lame. So I spent a lot of time with myself, but I think overall my first year has been relatively simpler than I thought, but there were definitely some challenges along the way.
Cool. Anyone else have anything they want to add? All right, we can go ahead and move on to the next question. So the next question I have for you all is, what has it been like to be a USciences student during COVID? And I know both Sydney's touched on that a little bit, talking about the transition, but if anyone else wanted to talk about their experience of being a college student during COVID.
So because as a freshman, I didn't get to experience what USciences was like without COVID restrictions. I really didn't feel that it was that much of like a detriment to my experience. I was still able to make friends and still able to connect with my professors through Zoom and perform well in my classes. But as I met like upperclassmen and they would tell me all of how lively the campus normally would be, and the much deeper connection that you would get if you were in person with these people, you get a little jealous. But it just made me all that more excited for next year, and I've kind of not tried to make light of the situation, but look at it with a silver lining, because the transition to college is very hard, and with less social activities being allowed, and kind of having to stay more to yourself, it has definitely allowed me to focus a lot more on my academics. So that transition has gotten a lot easier, and I'll be better prepared for next year when maybe we can interact a little bit more and go out with our friends.
I would definitely say, so let me start by saying again, I am a commuter, so I have not been on campus, for the full semester, neither spring nor fall. However, from what I have seen, you'd be surprised that actually, I think student life has been kind of fun with COVID. In the dining hall, they set up these plexiglass dividers so that, obviously you can eat with your mask off and still be separated from other people. And they've, set up expo markers with the plexiglass so that you can play a tic-tac-toe or hangman with your eating buddy from across the plexiglass. They even had this large tent that they set up in the quad, and they've been able to host a few events under there. Like I know in October they did mini pumpkin painting. The orientation leaders at the beginning of the year did make your own mask type of thing. So, USciences has definitely adapted very, very well to COVID guidelines and has definitely made light of the situation and definitely put in things to keep student life alive.
Thanks, guys. Kayla, I definitely feel your jealousy there. I actually started working at the university back in September, so my colleagues also tell me a lot about what the university is like pre-COVID, and I also have gotten a little bit jealous, but yeah, we're definitely excited to start transitioning and next year have a little bit more in person. And like Morgan mentioned earlier, our plan is to keep transitioning towards being pretty much all in person for the fall. So fingers crossed there's going to be even more stuff going on campus next year.
I know we're mean. We gotta start doing that.
No, it's okay. It makes me excited, like Kayla said.
Exactly. And we'll all get back to normal and it'll be fun. And then everyone will have fun.
Absolutely. All right, we can go on to the next question. Okay, so the next question is, what tips do you have for students to be successful in an online or hybrid course?
I think it's important to try to mimic human interaction as best as you can online. Like, go to office hours, talk to your professor one-on-one. Lots of professors here are so cool. Like, I know, like, my English teacher, math teacher, I'll talk to them like they're my best friend. I think you should, just try as hard as you can to go to social events, whether they're socially distanced, in person, or online, and just try to make connections as much as you can, because those connections will help you just feel more motivated as a person, and also get you some connections if with your professors, if you need letters of recommendation written for master's programs or medical school, law school, anything like that.
My advice for any student in any course, online or otherwise, is organization. I live and die by to-do lists. And as you can see, I have this big calendar next to me and I write down everything, when I have to do it, what it's going to be on. I feel like it's a little harder to keep up and remember what exactly you have to do when your courses are online. So that I think that's especially important when you're not having like face-to-face interaction and getting your assignments like that. But trust me, buy a planner. Even if you don't use it your first semester, by your second semester, it will be your favorite thing.
Cool. Thanks, guys. All right, so next question is, how does one get involved on campus? And maybe if any of you want to talk about how you've gotten involved on campus. I know a lot of you mentioned being involved in different on-campus organizations. So how did you get involved with those?
I will go because I think I was involved with the most organizations. If not, I'm tied with somebody. But honestly, it's so easy to get involved on campus. All you really have to do is reach out to whoever's organizing them through email. Or if they have a phone number posted, then you could definitely get involved that way. Everybody's super responsive and it's really, really easy to get involved in different organizations. And if you're not sure about something, try it anyway. I know I didn't plan on joining a sorority, and then I went to Rush Week and I absolutely fell in love with the sorority that I joined. So try new things. If it doesn't work out, if you don't like it, it's no big deal, but there are plenty of different organizations that will suit your individual interests.
It's definitely very easy to get involved on campus. I mean, as I've said before, and I'm going to continue to say, I am a commuter. I've been to campus maybe a total of 20 times this year. But I mean, like, I've made so many amazing friends and I've joined so many like fun organizations, like the American Chemical Society hosts these fun little events. They did Family Feud the other week. And even like organizations that you aren't a part of also host events. So our Black Student Union has been hosting a lot of fun, just like social distance, social gatherings, which you can go to. And it's just really nice to like meet people who you wouldn't ordinarily meet because we're in an online setting. So, I mean, even so, you know, you go to campus 20 times and you definitely will find a way to get involved. There is no issue with it at all.
Thanks, guys. Okay, so how are you able to manage academics and extracurricular activities? You're all just talking about how involved you are on campus. So how do you balance the two of those?
I feel like it's good to always have a balance. It's also good to always make sure you plan out your week accordingly. I know for me, what I like to do is every Sunday or Monday, I'll take a look at, what's due during the week. Do I have an exam this week? Do I have a paper? What homework's due? I'll write it down. Okay, this is due this day. That's due that day. This is when I work. Okay, I have 2 hours here, 3 hours here. Let's see what I could get done. It's good to, kind of visualize your schedule in front of yourself and see where you have those breaks in time and just put in study time or time to go read something in those slots, and that helps make it easier so you're not cramming like, oh my god, I have 8 hours of work to do, but I have an 8-hour block, let's just try to get it all done then. It's good to break it up and make it a little easier on yourself throughout the week.
I definitely agree with Sydney. That's excellent advice. And I would also just like to add is that like college is a very new experience and it's super exciting and you're gonna want to get involved and do everything. I found myself spread a little thin, this semester in particular, just because it is an exciting and new time. So one thing to remind yourself is to sometimes learn to prioritize and to say no to social events online or, hopefully next semester in person. Learn to, you know, say like, oh, I would really like to go to this club meeting, but it's not mandatory, and I have an exam 2 days from now, and I should really do some studying. So that's just something to keep in mind, you know, in the rush of it all next year.
Great, thank you. Okay, so this one's kind of a two-parter, but first of all, are you able to choose your roommate if you're living on campus? And second of all, if so, how do you find your roommate?
I currently have a roommate. And so the first part of it is if you are living on campus, you absolutely can choose your roommate. We have a website called eResLife that we are able to go on to. And if you meet somebody from the school that you would like to be your roommate, you can input their information on there, and Residence Life will do their best to make sure you two are paired together. Most of the time that works out. I haven't heard of any cases where it doesn't. And how did I find a roommate? Weirdly enough, Facebook. There were so many students who joined the Accepted Students 2020 page on Facebook, and everybody was like leaving their social media links. So I was able to get connected to so many different people. And my roommate now actually reached out to me on Snapchat and was like, hey, I'm looking for a roommate. We're both in the honors program. And we were talking for like a week, and then we realized we would be a good roommate pair. And so we decided to become roommates, and she's honestly so great. But if there is a case in which you're roommate and you don't get along after a while, that's perfectly okay. You don't always have to hang out with your roommate. I have heard roommate horror stories, but very minimally on campus here have I heard of like really, really bad like roommate horror stories, which is good.
Did anyone else choose a roommate differently, or did anybody get randomly paired with somebody?
I was supposed to room from a friend back home, but something came up, so she was not able to join us at USciences this past year. So I actually don't have a roommate, but I have heard of of a friend of mine who did a random selection, and she got paired with a girl who is now essentially her best friend, and she just got incredibly lucky because they met, and she said it was awkward for about the first 3 weeks, but now they're inseparable.
Cool. I will say too, a little fun fact about myself is that I actually currently live with my freshman year roommate from college who was randomly paired with me. So it can definitely work out in your favor if you want to do that as well. Morgan, did you have anything to add on?
I was actually, yeah, I was gonna, because I was just thinking, I'm like, Riley, you said a couple times you're a commuter, and I was thinking too, I was a commuter all 4 years when I was in school. So I was wondering, Riley, if you had any, I know you've kind of already talked about being a commuter, but like any specifics or advice or just tips that you would give about being a USciences commuter?
Definitely. I obviously, like I said, I take SEPTA, so I do not drive to campus. If any of you know SEPTA specifics, I take the R1 to Airport to 30th Street, and then I take 30th Street trolley down to Woodland and 42nd. There is a trolley system that runs right through the center of campus. So if you're planning to take a train, any of the trains that run into 30th Street Station, the trolley station is right across the street, maybe a 2-minute walk, and it's a 7-minute trolley ride, and it drops you off right in the center of campus. It's the most convenient thing I have ever seen in my entire life. But my recommendation would definitely be take a trip to campus prior to your first day, just because you never know if the route that you had planned is no longer active, or maybe you have your timings wrong or something like that. The trolleys are notorious for being late or getting into traffic jams. Another thing too is, remember, during like COVID guidelines, I double mask just because it is a high like public transport area, so definitely watch out for that. But even if you're planning to stay on campus, the trolley is a great way for people living on campus to get throughout the city too. You can choose to get a SEPTA key card, and then you can tap onto any of the SEPTA vehicles that you want to and get a fare to anywhere. But I don't know, commuting is a lot of fun. I have a great time with it. I crochet on the train, or maybe I doze off a few times here and there, but commuting is not a bad option. I very much enjoy it.
Thank you. I love hearing from commuters. I feel like I never hear enough commuters. So as a fellow college commuter, really appreciate it. And also someone who took regional rail and the trolleys for 4 straight years to work. So yes, thank you very much.
I was going to say, Morgan, you still take the trolley onto campus, so you're definitely familiar with the route too.
I do not own a car. I am anti-car. You do not have to have a car on campus to get around. So that's also helpful for students who are living on campus and then also commuters. It is very public transit accessible. Absolutely.
That is true. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. I guess we'll move on to the next one.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh, I like this question. So the next one is, what is your favorite part about USciences? Maybe all of you can answer this one.
So for me in particular, I feel like it's kind of a tie between two aspects. One of the biggest drawing factors for me was the fact that we have such an emphasis on undergraduate research. As a physics major who wants to go into academia, it was really important for me that I get, those experiences as an undergrad, and I develop lab skills and, potentially could get published before I even get my bachelor's degree. That was super exciting for me. We have labs for everybody. If you have an interest in research at all, no matter your major, there's definitely something for you. But definitely check it out once you come to campus. And then also just, how small and like close knit everything is. It really feels like you're a part of a community here. And I went to a super big high school, so I was just kind of a number there. And this has been a nice change.
I think my favorite part of USciences is how easy it is to get involved. I know joining the student ambassadors and getting into the campus activities board, it was so easy. Like they were saying earlier, all it takes is sending that email out, sending that text out, and it's that quick. They get right back to you, they welcome you in, and you're part of the team.
I think my favorite part of USciences is, I'd have to say, the diversity of the people that come here, because yes, we all are like wanting to get into the science field, but everybody has their own unique interests, and people seem so much more like you'd expect people from a science school to be strictly all about science, like super nerdy, super like scholarly, like shut-ins, not wanting to get out of their dorm room. They like studying is the main word on their mind. But it's nice to see how well-rounded everybody is. Like, for example, I sing and play ukulele. Like theater was a huge part of my high school experience, but we don't have that on campus, which is a blessing and a curse because, long story short, my theater experience in hindsight was not the best, but I still can recreationally like sing and play ukulele. And there are so many other people, like my roommate plays guitar and she's very talented. And there are different people with different strengths that you can really connect with. No matter who you're talking to, you'll probably have something in common with somebody.
You guys, I could go on and on and on and on. There's just so much. Like, number one biggest thing for me is that USciences is obviously a science school, so it's just very enveloped in the sciences. You know that everyone who is there to, they're going through the same things that you are. If you were to go to like a school with multiple majors, you know, you might have friends who are not going through the same things as you, and maybe there's a little bit of a disconnect there. But every single person here at USciences is going through the same, like, general chemistry, general biology, or physics or math. Like, everyone is just so enveloped in the sciences that it just creates such a beautiful community. Like I said before, you already know I'm a commuter. But you know, our chemical sciences department is so, like, close knit. Like, we're all such just great friends. And I've seen these people in person maybe a maximum of 8 or 10 times. But you know, we're just such a close knit community, and like, I love everyone, and even the professors too is another thing that I could go on. I'm pretty positive that all of our professors, at least in the chemical sciences department, have a PhD in what they're teaching. So these are experts in the field. They have a very like a large wealth of knowledge and a depth of knowledge on the subjects that they are teaching. And they're so down to earth too, because like I said, they got their PhD in this subject that you're also going to get your PhD in. So they went through it too. They know what you're going through. So if you wanted to talk to them about anything like study techniques, if you're not getting something, if you're planning grad school super early on, they have tips for grad school. Like Kayla mentioned, we have tons and tons of research opportunities that the professors are elated to talk about with you. There's just so much that I could say about this, but those are my main points. I really love it here.
Thanks, guys. That, like, it warms my heart to hear you all talk about that. And it gives me more things to talk to my students about. So I appreciate those answers a lot. Okay. And then, kind of bouncing off of that, why did each of you choose to attend USciences?
I know I chose to attend USciences because I just fell in love with the campus and the close-knitness of the individuals on campus. I went to a very small high school. I think I graduated with under 500 people, definitely under 500 people. I think it was even under 200 people. So I was just always used to that small, close-knit group. I had my friends, and I just wanted to continue that through college. And I feel like USciences really just made me feel like at home in a way.
I think I can rival you for smallest graduating class. I graduated with 96 people in my class. So I definitely loved the perk of being in a smaller school because I do well with less people and I like getting to know people. But I remember actually going to specifically the chemical sciences department had a chemistry accepted students day where it was only focused on like orientating the chemistry prospective students on the rest of like just the basics of the department. And I felt like there were so many good opportunities for me here compared to other schools that I was looking into. And the scholarships didn't hurt either. I will say it was partially a monetary decision, but I think more on that, I just feel like the professors just really got to know all of us in that day. Like I know Dr. Baird came to our chem orientation a couple months ago in the first semester, and he remembered everybody's names, and we're only freshmen. And it was so nice to see that like I had made the right choice from that, because I knew that I could get a close personal connection to all of my teachers and they would be able to help me more one-on-one than I would be able to if I went to like a Rutgers or a Penn State where I would just be another number. So it's nice to not just be a number.
My decision was, I mean, obviously, like everybody else's, I came to campus, I enjoyed the feel. I was looking at a lot of other larger schools. Um, but USciences gave me the opportunity, like I said, to do research, which was pretty monumental to me, as well as like the rigor of the academics here. I knew would prepare me well to go into grad school and be able to handle it, and then to then move into my field as a knowledgeable and like well-trained person. That was really important to me, as well as, you know, having a small community means that you get to be close to people. You have more, like, you have a deeper connection to people. But it also means that you get a little bit more attention in class, and it means that, you know, you'll get more help from your professors and, you know, the faculty here. And that was also really important to me too. Just because, you know, I really didn't feel like I was challenged a whole lot in high school, and I knew college was going to be a big difference. So I definitely wanted to be able to have that support system.
So my deciding factor was actually came from the Facebook group. So as Morgan mentioned earlier, there is a Facebook group that is open to accepted students. And although it's not a requirement, I personally am requiring all of you to join it because it is the reason that I'm at USciences. I was between two schools, USciences and another comparable one. And I really was just completely unsure. I had no idea what I wanted to do until I joined the Facebook group, and I found a GroupMe. And I joined the GroupMe, which, if you don't know, is an app where you and other students can communicate in the group chat. And we started having Zooms. We would all talk over Zoom over the summer. And I knew right when I hopped on that Zoom, like, these are my people. I found my place. Like, I just knew, like, I was at home. This is where I was supposed to go. When I was looking at colleges, I did not want to go to the city at all. I get very anxious when there's like a lot of hustle and bustle, which is obviously, you know, very much related to the city. But, you know, when you're on campus, most of our buildings are in the same area, and there's just a street that happens to run through it that has a trolley. You know, it does not feel like you're in the city when you're on campus. It just feels like you're, you know, on a college campus. So that kind of squashed the whole city fear thing. And plus knowing that I know like all these people from like the Facebook group, like on campus, are just so kind, and like, it's just such a great environment to be in. So that's why I chose USciences.
Morgan, did you want to add anything?
I was also just going to say, I'm glad that you mentioned that. The Facebook group is a requirement. As the moderator of the Facebook group, definitely recommend you getting on there. I feel like you've already gotten enough of reasons why you should join if you haven't joined already. However, I will also say that this year's Facebook group is significantly more active than any of the past groups that I've moderated. And I think a big reason why is because of the global pandemic might be. So you definitely would want to join that if you haven't done so already. It's a really great place to just get a feel for the students that are coming to USciences, meet each other, chit chat, and exactly like Riley and some of the other students were saying, the GroupMes and the Snapchat groups, I don't moderate those, so don't worry about me joining your groups, but it's a really great place to just start to chit chat and learn a little bit more about the experience, especially because this year is so odd. It's a little strange to try and get to know each other and get to know a campus environment this way. And that's definitely a really good opportunity to do so. So definitely join the Facebook group if you haven't done so already.
Great. And I think that that's the last prepared question that we have.
Yes, I think so. I think, yes. So any additional questions, I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen in just a second, and we're going to go through some of the questions that were put in the Q&A. But just really quick, I wanted to show you the rest of the admissions counselors. So myself and Sarah are here. So if you do know who your specific admissions counselor is, you are more than welcome to reach out to them. But if you don't know who your specific counselor is, that's totally fine. You can reach out to any of us and we can answer your questions, but you can also email the general admissions account, which is admit, ADMIT at usciences.edu, and we are more than happy to go over any questions that you have if we can't answer them today. But I'm just going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen for just a second and we'll take a look at some of those questions. All right, let me see.
Cool.
1 second. Oh yeah, and yep, and Sarah just put the actual email address for the general admissions office. So if you guys do have any questions about that later, feel free. Okay, let me see. Let me take a look at these Q&A questions. So, hello, did anyone take dual enrollment courses during high school and were they all transferred to USciences? That's a good question. Does anyone have a student perspective answer to that? Did any of you guys take dual enrollment credits and have credits transfer over?
Personally, I didn't, but a very close friend of mine took writing courses at a local college while she was in high school, and she was able to skip the writing 101 and move right into 102. So that like kind of put her a little bit ahead when she got here.
I know. I did the dual enrollment through a community college. I did a half day in high school, so half the day I would take my required high school courses, and the second half of the day I would go to the local community college. They actually paid for it all. I was able to get, I think I ended up getting 9 credits out of the way, and I felt like it was a great experience because I actually wrote like a 10-page paper for them. I feel like it prepared me very well for USciences and writing papers, because now taking like writing 102, and I'm currently working on a psychology paper, I feel like I could just like I have knowledge under my belt as to how to write a college paper. So I would suggest, if you could do dual enrollment, to most definitely get into that. And yes, the credits do transfer. I know all of mine transferred. Most of the stuff was pretty generic, and most generic credits do transfer.
Yeah, and that's definitely good advice. And then from just the admissions office side of things, if you do have any dual enrollment courses, if you're currently taking them, if you have taken any of them, the only thing you have to do is get your official transcript from whatever university or community college that you've attended the credits for. Get that transcript over to us at some point throughout the summer so that we can evaluate them and see if we can get those credits transferred over. Exactly as Sydney said, most generalized credits are going to come over, but if it doesn't specifically come over, if maybe it's from a college we don't recognize, if one we haven't specifically had partnerships with, all that means is that we'll just have to evaluate it on an individual level, and then we will let you know which ones transfer over and communicate that with your academic advisors.
I also put a link in the chat. We do have a transfer credit tool on our website, so you can plug in any dual enrollment classes that you've taken and see if they've been transferred over to USciences in the past, just to get an idea of what you might be eligible for. And like Morgan said, some of your courses may not be listed on there, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we won't take the credit, but it just means that we haven't ever had anyone try to transfer it over in the past. So we'll just have to look at it a little bit more in depth. But you can visit the link that I put in the chat and kind of check out what you might be eligible for.
Cool. So the next question is, do you have recommendations for activities, research, or volunteering opportunities that you did in the summer before University of the Sciences? Did any of you guys do anything academic related in the summer between high school and USciences? I believe, are you guys all U1? So your experience might be a little bit different.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, go ahead, Sydney. You're good.
No, I know for me, that's the answer to that is a hard no, only because I was so done with high school at that point, especially having the last part of the year being in the pandemic. I wish I did more volunteer type things, but obviously that wasn't as possible to do. I did babysit a lot during the pandemic though, so that definitely helped me prepared to deal with all different types of students that I might encounter here and fellow classmates. And that's the nice way I'm going to put it.
So I'm in the me and Sydney are both in the chemical sciences department. And so our someone who sits on the board for the chemical sciences department, her name is Vanessa. She's a lovely lady. She runs sort of most of the updates that will come out about chemical sciences department, whether they be from the American Chemical Society or if they are talking about research within the department. The past summer, we were unable to do summer research from what I've heard in the chemical sciences department specifically. Research is picking back up this summer in the chemical sciences department. You basically have to get while I'm here, I'll talk about research really quick. You get a paper from one of our chemical sciences professors, and you will fill it out with 3 different professors who you would like to work with. If any of you are interested in research, whether it be in the chemical sciences department, physics, mathematics, biology, the USciences website is a really great resource for you because all of the professors have written descriptions of their research on the website. So you can go look at that. But for the chemical sciences department specifically, there is an application that you fill out. You'll write down 3 professors that you would like to work with. You will go to sort of like interviews, I'd call them, with the professor. It's basically you just talking with them about their research, if it would be a good fit for you, if that professor would like to work with you. And then you'll hear back from those professors on whether they'd like you to come into their lab or not. And then from there, you can pick to join research. Then moving into the summer, there is another sort of application that you fill out that Vanessa sent out to all of us the other week. And you just fill out some basic information because there is a stipend that comes along with it. So there is information that they need from you to be able to do that over the summer. And I believe this summer we're running it from May to like mid-August. But that application does not ensure that you'll be working with a professor. You do need to still fill out that other application and make sure that you're in research prior to signing on for summer research. That was long-winded, I apologize, but that's how you go about it.
No problem. And then that was great, actually. I feel like I just learned a little bit about research. I feel like I don't know a lot about that process, so I will be taking notes about that one, actually. Thank you. But just from another, again, from the admissions office side of things, of specifically for anything you want to do between the summer between high school and college, our recommendation is to chill. Feel free to take the summer off. If you do want to take part in any type of academic shadowing or research or volunteering or activities, you are more than welcome to do so. But if you do not have to, this is the perfect time for you to take some time off, relax, and you're going to get to school and you're going to start doing a lot of work really quick. So feel free to take this summer. It is okay to take some time off. And then especially this year, and then also the past year for our students that are on the panel, it's been a little difficult to get those opportunities in the first place. So that's okay. Don't stress about it. It's okay if you can't get those opportunities. You don't have to have them. Take the time off, relax, and you're going to have a good summer. And then when you get here, you will be refreshed and ready to go for your academics for a long 4 to 6 years for your program. Awesome. Okay, so next question. What internship opportunities did you pursue during the pandemic? I know you guys are still a little bit early in your program, but have any of you tried to pursue any internships or volunteering?
I'm not in an internship per se, but I did in the past month get a job at Virtual Health, which the job title I have does go along. It's like an entry-level job to the career I want to have. I'm looking to get into health administration, Right now, I'm an access navigator, which I guess is like a fancy term for medical scheduler, and I'm helping get people scheduled for vaccines. And I think we are taking volunteers right now because it's been overwhelming. We get thousands of calls every day, people trying to schedule their vaccines, people in need of how to go about scheduling vaccines. Maybe some people don't have everything that they think they need. Some people that might need information on, oh, is it really free? Like, I don't have health insurance, I need help. Like, we've been going through and aiding them every day. I know I'm here 40 hours a week, and that doesn't even feel like enough. Like, it's just been crazy, but I love it. I love helping people. And like I said, it's definitely a job that's going to look good on my application one day when I go to apply to jobs in administration and they see that I was a part of helping people get vaccinated during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Sydney, that's a really
I
cool opportunity. Sorry to interrupt you, Riley, but we did have one student ask if you could possibly put the contact info for that volunteering opportunity in the chat. I think that's definitely something that people would be interested in.
But Riley, go ahead.
So really quick, another thing that came out from Vanessa, our lovely chemical sciences department, we did get an internship opportunity from Pfizer, actually, for our U2 students who have taken organic chemistry. They're going to apply to this internship. They should have already applied to this internship within the past few months. And this summer, they're going to be flown out either to the Pfizer laboratories in California or Rhode Island, I believe. And they're going to be working for 10 weeks alongside professionals who work at Pfizer. All expenses paid, living by the lab. So, and that's just one of the internship opportunities that you can get through USciences. And I do believe Pfizer continues to offer that within coming years. So there are tons and tons of internship opportunities that you can pursue through USciences that you could do during the summer.
It is insane the things that I don't know that you guys do. That is.
I was laughing because you looked so excited to hear about that.
It's like, wow, that's amazing. That is so cool. I'd never heard of that. I'm gonna cry. That's amazing. That's so cool. Oh my God. Thank you. That's awesome. Okay. Collect myself. Okay. So here's a really good question, because I know some of you guys were talking about this. So how are you able to make friends over the virtual setting? Did your professors put you into breakout rooms, or do you connect over social media?
So my first week here, like I said, like my friend couldn't come with me, so I didn't have a roommate. I was pretty scared. I've never been like a super outgoing person, and I ran into two girls in the hallway, and I asked them if they knew where the dining hall was, and they said no. And I said, me neither. And then we and we went and we found the dining hall, and later we met with another two girls who are on our floor, and that became like our social bubble all first semester. And then honestly, my intro to my first year chemistry course has kind of been my most socialization. I've gotten super close with a lot of people. Me and Sydney are in the same sorority, and like me and Riley are pretty close as well. And I've hung out with Sydney as well. You just kind of tend to run into people. And your classes are going to be kind of small, so it's pretty easy to like be yourself. And then people will kind of recognize that, and the right people will find you.
Awesome. Yeah, I feel like I've definitely seen, at least from my perspective of the ambassadors in the office, I feel like I've seen you guys also have some nice communication between each other. And then also I feel like I've gotten to know you guys just through these events too. So sign up to be an ambassador. You'll make some friends. Maybe the friends will be me. Who knows? But definitely a good opportunity to start meeting some people. Awesome. Okay. So here's a good question. How do you find a job on campus? I know a couple of you had mentioned that you had jobs on campus, but anyway, you want to describe how you got those?
So I know that the way I got the student ambassador job was someone told me to go on Devil's Advocate and apply. The Devil's Advocate hosts all the events on campus as well as houses applications for jobs. I know all the job postings I found were on there, as well as events from the campus activities board. So it is good to make sure you have an account on there and that you're checking it, every week, because there is ample opportunity to get involved, go to events, get a job. Like, if you're worried at all about getting a job on campus, I wouldn't be worried. That was my biggest fear. Like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do as a broke college student, like, without a job? And within my first week, I was, an ambassador, training and working as a college student.
Yeah, and if you aren't the most tech savvy and don't quite know how to navigate Devil's Advocate, literally in any social setting for students, there are dozens of flyers like showing, hey, this is the opportunity we have. You can contact this person at this number or this email and they'll set you up. And I think, that's not how I found it. I think we were sent an email or something like right before school started, and I was able to sign up to be an ambassador through that. I just had to like follow the links and I got there. But I know within the first couple days, I saw the flyer for saying that they were looking for ambassadors. And I was like, haha, I already signed up for that. I'm so smart. No, but it's very easy to get a job on campus, literally for anything that you may want to pursue. There's probably a flyer hanging up somewhere. If they really need students, they'll go to the emails and like do an email to like all students. So if you don't go to them, eventually they'll go to you.
And here, just to plug the Facebook group one more time, I got my job as an ambassador through the Facebook group. And I do have another job on campus, which is a service attendant, which is basically swipe cards. I just got that through a mutual friend. So it's definitely super important to network when you get to campus, and that'll open a lot of doors for you.
People definitely reach out through email like constantly too. I'm currently in the process of applying to be an orientation leader. So if I get that, hopefully some of you accepted students will be in my group this summer. But email after email after email with tons of opportunities is coming to you like constantly. And all you have to do is, right now it's just show up to a Zoom, but if things go in person, it would just be show up to an in-person meeting. So opportunities are plentiful.
Awesome. So we have like two more questions. And one of them is, are campus protocols different for fully vaccinated students? So I don't really know if you guys have had the opportunity to get the vaccine. I know a lot of stuff in like Philadelphia, and also some of you that aren't from like the Philadelphia area. It's a little bit odd, but maybe you could just talk a little bit about the specific protocols around COVID that maybe you've experienced on campus.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Kayla.
You could go ahead if you want, Sydney.
Oh, okay. Well, we've had COVID protocols set in place since like the beginning of last semester. Like, everybody is very vigilant and diligent about wearing their masks. I just rhymed, I should be a rapper. And they're like, that's another thing about the university, is that even though like a lot of colleges didn't have like a pandemic plan, because the university is so healthcare oriented, we were able to have a plan in place where students could still be on campus, but socially distanced and masked all the way. And then we actually got an email. So I personally got my first dose of the vaccine two Saturdays ago. And I get my second dose on the 10th. However, we were given an email saying that like some universities are able to have like like you're able to do still socially distanced type of things, but like masks off for students who are fully vaccinated. However, at our university, regardless of if you are fully vaccinated or not, you are still required to wear your mask unless you are eating or doing something, or like you're in your dorm room. Otherwise, you always should have your mask on so that everybody is being safe as possible. Because even if you are vaccinated, that's no guarantee that you can't get COVID or you can't transmit COVID to somebody else. So I think that's a like very long-winded answer to the question, but it also has all the details in there.
Yeah, I would definitely say also as well, like, especially in response to that, like, we are a science university. We're very focused in the medical and healthcare sciences. We are always going to prioritize, especially in this specific situation, the recommendation of scientists, the CDC. So when, like, we're definitely going to continue to use our COVID protocols for as long as necessary. So definitely you'll see that for as long as we're in this pickle, we will stay vigilant. So definitely with is making sure that all of our faculty, staff, and students are safe. They feel comfortable in our environment. So you'll definitely see that here, especially with following with our protocols for sure. Mm-hmm. Awesome. And then the only other question that I saw is a student specifically asking about the physical therapy program. I'm not sure, are any of you in PT?
My next door neighbor's in PT, but I'm not in PT.
Sure, awesome. So for the student that's specifically asking about physical therapy, my suggestion to you would be to attend our Accepted Student Day. So Accepted Student Day is coming up soon. Actually, that specific event is in person that's coming up. If you are comfortable with attending an in-person Accepted Student Day, you are more than welcome to attend to learn more about physical therapy. If you are not comfortable with attending an in-person event, that's also fine. We actually have some recorded versions of our virtual Accepted Student Days talking way more in depth about the physical therapy program. And then if you do have any questions that aren't answered in those pre-recorded sessions on the website, just feel free to reach out to us. We could see if we can get you in contact with any of the physical therapy faculty or any current students, and we are more than happy to talk a little bit more about it. But it looks like that's our final question. So if any students do have any more questions, please feel free to send an email over to admit@usciences.edu, which is a little bit farther up in the chat, I believe. I think Sarah just put that in there just a couple minutes ago. So that should be in the chat for admit@usciences.edu for any additional questions. And we are more than happy to go over those with you. But thank you so much for attending. I think that's pretty much all we got. I think we had a pretty good session. So thank you so much for attending. This was great. We hope you have a great rest of your night. And again, thanks for coming, and we hope to see you again soon.
Thanks, guys.
Yay.
Woohoo.
That was great, guys. Like, honestly, that was fantastic. That was amazing. That was like the best student panel I've watched. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was fun.
Great job.
I learned a lot.
That was great. Also, Riley, just because I was thinking about it, you are, I'm not kidding, a doppelganger of my best friend who actually went to USciences here. His name's Duff. He's also in the chemistry program. Definitely recommend mentioning Joseph Duffield to one of your professors. I feel like they will know who he is. Very energetic, very excited. He was also a commuter. We both went to school in Philly together. But as every time I'm texting him, I'm like, Duff, you're second generation. He's here. Like we've done it. So yeah,
funny.
Just wanted to throw that out there. I was like, finally, the second Duff has arrived. But yes, but otherwise, That was amazing. Thank you guys so much. That was super helpful.
Yeah, thank you. All did a great job. Really appreciate you all, spending your Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday, right? Night with us, all of us.
Wednesday? It's just day. I don't know.
Is it May 2nd yet is the real question.
It is a day. That's for sure.
Really appreciate it. Thank you again for all of the answers and insights. I know the students really seem to appreciate it. I know I did.
I learned a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. Well, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your night. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. And
remember to enter your hours in the workday.
Yes, get that coin. Good to go.
The important part.
The important part. Are you getting paid to be here? That's the important part. Awesome.
Thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you
Thank you.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.